Welcome to Truth Report. Tonight, we peel back the layers of global turbulence, exposing how crises, both real and manufactured, become fertile ground for the expansion of unseen power and pervasive surveillance. From the skies above the Middle East to the streets of Tehran, we connect the dots, revealing how your data, your movements, and even your grief are increasingly under the microscope.
We begin with the ripple effects of geopolitical conflict, examining how airline policies during times of war intersect with the vast, often opaque, world of data collection. Then, we pivot to the highly charged information landscape of the Middle East, dissecting reports that, whether true or not, reveal the intricate mechanisms of state control and the constant monitoring of public sentiment.
What happens when corporate convenience meets national security imperatives? Who truly benefits when flexibility is offered, but transparency is withheld? And how do authoritarian regimes leverage significant public events, or even the reports of such events, to tighten their grip on information and dissent?
Tonight, we show you that beneath the headlines of conflict and crisis, a quieter, more insidious battle is being waged, a battle for your privacy, your autonomy, and the very truth of what's happening around you. This is Truth Report.
Our first investigation takes us to the skies, specifically focusing on Hong Kong's Cathay Pacific Airways. As the US and Israel exchanged strikes with Iran, a dangerous escalation that put the entire region on edge, Cathay Pacific flights to the Middle East were cancelled, leaving thousands of passengers stranded and frustrated.
According to reporting from the South China Morning Post, passengers have voiced significant criticism over Cathay Pacific's compensation and rebooking policies. This isn't just about travel disruption, it's a window into how global crises are exploited, creating new vectors for data collection and control under the guise of security.
Cathay Pacific responded to the outcry by stating they were waiving rebooking and rerouting charges for the affected customers, framing this as providing greater flexibility. However, the SCMP report highlights a critical omission. The airline conspicuously failed to clarify whether these measures included financial compensation for these conflict-related cancellations.
This lack of clarity is a common corporate tactic, designed to manage public relations while minimizing financial liability. By offering rebooking without refunds, Cathay retains funds, while passengers bear the brunt of unexpected costs, from alternative flights to lost accommodation. It's a classic case of corporate profit superseding passenger welfare amidst a global crisis.
But the implications stretch far beyond mere refunds. Every time a flight is cancelled, rebooked, or rerouted, a vast amount of passenger name record, or PNR, data is generated and updated. This includes intricate details about your travel plans, payment information, contact details, and even special meal requests, which are routinely shared with governments globally.
During times of heightened geopolitical tension, like the US-Israel exchange of strikes with Iran, this data becomes even more valuable to intelligence agencies. Passengers whose travel plans are disrupted in conflict zones are automatically flagged, their new itineraries and contact information becoming data points in an expansive surveillance network, often without their explicit knowledge or consent.
We've seen this pattern before. Governments often justify these broad data sweeps under the umbrella of national security. But the line between legitimate security concerns and intrusive mass surveillance blurs when every cancelled flight to a geopolitically sensitive region becomes an opportunity for profiling and monitoring.
The flexibility Cathay Pacific offers, while superficially helpful, serves a dual purpose. It appeases frustrated customers just enough to prevent a full revolt, while the underlying system continues to collect, process, and potentially share sensitive travel data with various state actors. It's a crisis management strategy that facilitates quiet information gathering.
So, who truly benefits from this arrangement? Clearly, Cathay Pacific minimizes its financial exposure during a force majeure event. But governments, particularly those involved in or monitoring the conflict, gain an invaluable real-time intelligence feed on individuals whose travel patterns are directly impacted by military actions.
Passengers, on the other hand, are the clear losers. They face financial losses, travel disruptions, and simultaneously become unwitting subjects of increased scrutiny. Their personal travel data, collected by the airline, is repurposed to serve state surveillance objectives, transforming a personal inconvenience into a national security data point.
This incident underscores a broader power dynamic, how corporate entities, often inadvertently or through mandated compliance, become extensions of state surveillance apparatuses. Airlines are compelled to share PNR data, and during a crisis, the justification for wider data access and analysis becomes almost unchallengeable.
It's a stark reminder that in an interconnected world, geopolitical events don't just affect foreign policy, they have immediate and often invisible impacts on individual privacy. Your travel plans, cancelled due to distant conflicts, contribute to a larger mosaic of surveillance, built piece by piece, crisis by crisis.
And the implications extend to anyone considering travel to or through regions deemed volatile. The message is clear: when global tensions rise, your privacy becomes a negotiable asset in the name of security, silently traded by corporations and governments alike.
Our next report takes us to Iran, where a recent article from Middle East Eye has brought to light a highly significant and potentially destabilizing claim. According to their reporting, thousands take to streets to mourn Ali Khamenei's killing, referring to the current supreme leader of Iran.
This report, if true, would represent an earth-shattering development in the geopolitical landscape, triggering immense internal and external ramifications. However, the very nature of such a claim, and its dissemination, compels us to examine not just the event itself, but the broader information warfare and surveillance landscape it inhabits.
Middle East Eye, a news outlet focused on the region, published this article, indicating a significant public reaction to this alleged event. Whether a factual report or part of a deliberate narrative, the claim of public mourning for the supreme leader would instantly become a flashpoint for state surveillance.
In a country like Iran, where political stability is paramount and dissent is tightly controlled, any large-scale public gathering, even under the guise of mourning, is subjected to intense state scrutiny. The regime's intelligence apparatus is highly sophisticated, monitoring every corner of public life for signs of unrest or opposition.
This isn't just about physical surveillance. The digital footprint of such an event, from social media posts to encrypted messaging apps, would be scoured by state security agencies. They would be actively identifying participants, assessing public mood, and mapping networks of perceived dissidents or loyalists.
The very act of taking to the streets, whether in genuine mourning or as a veiled form of protest, would be a high-stakes gamble for citizens. The state's pervasive surveillance tools, including facial recognition, phone tapping, and digital monitoring, would be deployed to maintain control and identify potential threats to the regime's authority.
Even if the report itself were later to be proven false or a misinterpretation, the impact of its dissemination is real. Such a story can be weaponized in information warfare, designed to test the waters of public opinion, sow confusion, or incite reaction, all of which would be rigorously monitored by state intelligence.
This highlights how sensitive information, regardless of its veracity, becomes a catalyst for heightened surveillance. The regime would be analyzing every data point, from crowd size and slogans to online discussions, to gauge popular sentiment and preemptively crush any burgeoning opposition.
So, who benefits when such a report circulates? Potentially, internal factions or external actors seeking to destabilize the regime by creating uncertainty. The state itself might benefit by using the event to identify and categorize dissenters who participate in or react to such gatherings, refining their surveillance targets.
The true losers, as always, are the ordinary citizens. They are caught in a web of information and misinformation, their public expressions of emotion or opinion scrutinized, potentially leading to arrest, detention, or further monitoring. Their privacy is completely eroded in the face of state security imperatives.
This entire scenario underscores the extensive power structures at play within authoritarian states. The constant threat of surveillance, both physical and digital, acts as a powerful deterrent against public assembly and free expression, even during moments of immense national significance.
Such reports, whether factual or part of a carefully constructed narrative, inevitably trigger an intensification of domestic monitoring. The state uses the perceived crisis or opportunity to justify more intrusive data collection, more widespread censorship, and a heavier hand in controlling the information flow.
The intersection of geopolitical tension, potential internal dissent, and the pervasive state gaze becomes incredibly stark here. Every reported movement, every gathering, every piece of information, real or not, is filtered through the lens of control, making surveillance an ever-present reality for citizens.
The very act of public mourning, which in many societies is a private and collective expression of grief, is transformed into a highly surveilled political act in such environments. It's a testament to the lengths regimes will go to maintain power, using every available tool, especially surveillance.
What we see across these two seemingly disparate stories is a chilling pattern. Crises, both external and internal, are not merely events to be managed, they are opportunities to expand and normalize surveillance. From the data collected by an airline during a flight cancellation to the monitoring of public sentiment in the face of a momentous news report, the gaze of power is ever present.
In the Cathay Pacific case, geopolitical conflict provides the pretext for airlines to collect and share more passenger data, transforming travelers into data points for national security agencies. The individual's right to privacy takes a backseat to the state's perceived need for information, often without public debate or oversight.
And in Iran, the mere report of a significant event involving the supreme leader, true or not, becomes a trigger for intense domestic surveillance. The physical and digital movements of thousands, whether mourning or protesting, are meticulously catalogued, analyzed, and used to strengthen state control and suppress dissent.
The common thread is the leveraging of perceived instability, an external military exchange or an internal leadership question, to justify broader, more intrusive monitoring. Corporations become unwitting or complicit partners in data collection, while governments solidify their grip on information and their populations.
This isn't just about isolated incidents, it's about a systemic erosion of privacy under the guise of security. Each crisis chips away at individual freedoms, normalizing the idea that our personal data, our movements, and even our thoughts are fair game for scrutiny by powerful entities.
The information war is fought on multiple fronts, through official narratives, through the spread of potentially unverified reports, and critically, through the constant monitoring of how people react to it all. Our digital footprints and our physical presence are continuously tracked, analyzed, and categorized.
What these investigations reveal is a world where crisis management increasingly means control through data. Whether you're an airline passenger or a citizen in a tightly controlled state, your life is an open book for those with the power and the technology to read it.
The message from Truth Report tonight is clear: vigilance is not just about observing the overt actions of governments and corporations, but understanding the subtle, often unseen ways they gather and use your information. Every global event, every domestic tremor, is a potential avenue for expanded surveillance.
We urge you to question the narratives, demand transparency from both corporations and governments, and understand the value of your own digital footprint. Your privacy is not a luxury, it is a fundamental right that requires constant defense in this increasingly surveilled world.
For Truth Report, I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity. We'll see you next time.